Hello and welcome to another episode of Abstract Thesis series. This video is a continuation from the last video of visual calculations. What I would like to see here in this video is can we use it on other functions? And especially I would like to do visual calculations on functions which has been released between December 2022 and April 2023, the functions which are very similar to Windows SQL function. Those provide us order by and partition by. I would like to go ahead and see whether offset, index, window, rank and row number can work with dynamic rows means access. So we need to check, can these functions work in visual calculation? And if they work, can they work in the visual when we change axis or row of the visual? Will they continue to work like the other visual calculations we have learned in the past, like previous, next, running sum, moving average, etc. And why I am thinking these functions can work in visual calculation is the part of the documentation which I am going to showcase you. I want to perform them at visual level without using explicit table or relation. By doing so, we will be able to create more flexible calculation which can still work even if we change the axis. So friend, with that objective, I would like to first of all show you the two statements which were part of the documentation, which motivates me to experiment this. So one of the statement which we have looked last time is this axis and reset and order by and partition by, and they are pairs. Now the second pair is the one which is used by the 5 functions which we plan to discuss today. And usually these functions need explicit columns. So in spite of those explicit columns, can we make them little more dynamic? The second thing is, when it talk about available function, it do say you can use many existing DEX function in visual calculations. Let's go ahead and try the existing DEX function and see whether they can fit into the visual calculation the way we wanted. So to start with this journey, I'm continue to use my sales model, and as I'm expected that you have already watched the previous video, I'm not explaining the model in this video. Please go ahead and watch the previous video. The link will be available in the description. So to start today's journey, I will bring in brand from the item dimension, and I'll also add net measure. I would like to do visual calculations. So how do we do that? From the home tab, new calculations, click on new calculation. And the first function which I plan to use is offset. What offset used to do for us? We can go to the previous position or the next position by providing an offset, just like we have got previous here. Now I'm going to use calculate net, which is required with the offset function. You can opt for other options also. Now I use the function offset. What does offset function require? It requires delta, relation, order by, blanks, partition by, match and reset. Let's go ahead and try these out. -1 is the delta, then relation, and here I am doing the first change. So instead of using all selected item brand or all item brand, I am using rows. And remember, we are doing a visual calculation, so getting data outside the visual might not be possible for us. The next thing is order by, and because order by might require an explicit column, I'm as of now leaving that as is. And because it's going to pick up the default order by or the first axis, I'm expecting it to sort on brand. And as you can see, we are getting values which are one row behind, the same as previous. But what the difference is going to make in our life if I use rows instead of explicit table call or explicit relation call in the offset function? Let me go ahead and change this brand to category. and you can see the calculation is still working. It is still giving me the previous row value. It means I am no more dependent on what is there on my axis, so I got rid of that. It makes offset function much more powerful than what we have used it previously. Now let me change it back to brand, and I would now like to go back, and can I run this offset on net? I will add another new calculation here, and I'm going to call it offset 1. Again, calculate net offset -1 rows in the relation as we have given previously also, and this time I'm going to use order by, and order by is still looking for an explicit column here, or can we give 1 and 2? We have to experiment. So here I'm going to give explicit name net, and if you remember, there has been a change done after this function has been released, that in the order by we can use major, which is not part of the relation. Net is not part of the relation, but we can still use it. And how do we want to use it? Descending sort. So I have pressed enter after adding an additional parenthesis, and it has worked. Now, to understand this, we need to change the sorting of the visual. As I've sorted it on net, you can see that now it is trailed by net. So I'm getting previous row based on net sorting. It is not sorted on brand or the default axis. Can you do that using previous? Try that out and do let me know in the comments. Can you do the same thing using previous function? If not, offset is your choice. So let's go back to the visual and understand these calculations a little bit. So right now the sorting is on net, so you can see it's trailed by a row. But this function, first offset, how it is working? So it is actually still working, but it is trailed by the order of brand. So if you see brand 1, and after that if you go to the brand 10, you will see that value, because the sorting order is like this: brand 10, 11. They're still working, but they're working based on their own order. So interesting thing, we are able to use offset. Now I already experimented with the partition by, which did not work for me, but let me showcase you that can we use the last reset option. So I will use calculate net offset -1, relation is rows, order by I will leave, blanks I will leave, partition by I will leave, match I will leave, and reset. Can I give highest parent here? I am giving highest parent here. No order by has been used. Doesn't seem to have make any difference, but we need more than one parent for such a reset, isn't it? So let's bring in more than one column here. So let's bring in category also here, and we would like to see the calculation of this offset versus this offset. Is it making any difference? So if you see here, it is already sorted on the brand, which is the highest parent, and post that this is 1, 4. So if you look at the first calculation, the offset, and you look at the second calculation of the offset, it sounds like doing the same job, isn't it? Now let's add one more. Do you see a change here? To do that, let's first of all bring in these two things together. So I have the offset and the calculation together, and I don't see any difference. Let me convert it into a matrix visual. And now you can see, the moment I have a visual like matrix visual where the concept of the parent works. Remember, the concept of the parent has to work. And the moment I am on a matrix visual where we have this concept of a parent, because remember all three of them were on the same kind of axis in a table visual, and the concept of hierarchy is not too much valid in case of table visual. It is more valid in case of matrix visual. Now here you will start seeing a difference. So one of the difference which you are seeing here, this is the first value. If you remember, this is my first value to this calculation. This also get carried forward to the first calculation. We are still in the brand 1. When I go to the brand 10, this is my boundary of the brand 10. And as you can see inside the brand 10, it is not getting the value for the first category. And to make it easier to understand, let me first remove the subtotals. So let me hide the subtotals. Now as I've hidden the subtotals, what do you see between offset and the calculation? What is the difference between the two? So to observe that, look at the brand 10. Only inside the brand 10. Inside the brand 10, what you are seeing here is, here I am getting both the values, but only I am getting here 1 because the reset at the 1 has applied. So it means if you are not able to use partition by, you can still use reset. So you have a reset option which can work in such scenarios. So now we have understood that how we can use reset in offset function instead of partition by. And if you remember, we do have the flexibility of using numbers here 1, 2 and 3 depending on what parent we wanted to have reset. We can also try to experiment with that, but I'm not going to do that experiment as of now. I'll leave it for you to go ahead and try that out. Now I'll leave this page here and we'll further go to another page, and there again I'm going to create the same visual. What we have started with is brand and net, and the function this time I would like to use is the index function. So let me click on the visual and the new calculation, and I'm going to call this function as index. Calculate net index. What does index function require? Position, relation, order by, blanks, partition by, match by and reset. So what we are going to do is, index is first index. I want the first one based on the relation, which is nothing but rows. What's the next thing I require is order by, and here I'm going to use an order by, explicit order by net descending. And as you can see, I got the first value. I can go ahead and modify this calculation to have the second value also. So second value, as you can see, it is the second value. I can go ahead and use it as a third value also. So this is the third topper. Same way I can use minus here, which is not possible if you would have used the first and second. So if you would have used the first function, you cannot get all these, but you can get with the offset, and I can make it -3, which is actually going to give me the bottom third. Same way I can have another calculation, index 1, where I can use calculate net index, and here I can use position as 1 again and rows, and I can leave the order by to take the default order by, and as you can see, it has taken brand 1, the first position, because that's the default axis order by. Let me go back to the visualization, and as you might have expected, if I change it to category, it still continue to work. So this is my third topper by net, and this is also the categorical first total. Both are same here, that's why the number is coming same, but they are doing two different calculations. Same way I can add both of them together, brand and category, and calculations will still work. So one of them would be on the bottom third and one of them would be based on the top. Let me remove category from this visual. And now I would like to use the next function, which is nothing but rank. New calculation, rank. Function I'm going to use is rank, not rank x. This is the new function, came in April 2023. What I want to use is ties, which is nothing but dense. And what does dense means? Dense means if you are using a rank and the rank getting duplicated like 1 1 1 1, then the next rank would still be 2. It is not going to skip the rank, so we'll get continuous rank. What is relation? Rows. Do I want to do I order by? Yes, I would like my ranks based on net, but you know that you can do it without that also. And the ranks are based on the net. As you can see, the moment I sorted it, you are getting your correct ranks. And if you want to do the rank based on the axis, you can add another visual calculation. Click here and in the visual calculation give it rank 1, rank function, dense, rows, leave everything else. It is based on the axis, as you can see here. Let's go back to the visualization. What's the beauty? As you know, we can change it. We can add additional one. Still the rank should work based on the net. We have not explicitly called it for category. We have explicitly called it for net, so that is what it is going to continue to work for the net when we do the visual calculation. Now the visual calculations are also limited to visual, so whatever data is not present in the visual, it is not going to do a ranking for that. If you are looking for that all kind of a scenario, you might not be able to replicate that here. So you are able to use now rank also in the visual level calculation with the visual level arguments like row. Can we do a reset here of the rank? And for that, let me duplicate this page after renaming. Here let me change it to matrix visual and let me add brand, disable row subtotals and expand it. As of now, as you can see, the ranks have changed their order a little bit, because the thing is, the moment I sorted it on net, the net is actually sorted not for the brand and category. It is first sorted on the top brand and then the second top brand and then inside that for the category. And that is why you see this rank is not working in a particular descending order, but on a table visual it is going to work as expected. But we would like to add a new calculation here, which is nothing but rank 3, and here I would like to use rank, ties is dense, relation is rows, order by is net, order by is net, descending, I leave blanks, I leave partition by, I leave match by, and I want reset. Reset as, right now I'll use lowest parent, but in this case lowest parent and highest parent are same. So let's try that out. So it is saying reset parameter cannot be used with the combination of order by and partition by, because I've used order by, so it is not allowing me to use the reset. So let's go ahead and edit this calculation and remove the order by. Does it work? Yes, it does work. As we have learned, only the combinations can work: axis and reset, order by and partition by. Let's go back to the visual, and as you can see, we are able to partition it when we are using the default axis. You can now observe that the categories are ranked properly inside each brand. So there is a reset happening for each brand and categories are ranked inside that. So we know that the combination is there and that combination is applied on this visual. So row and axis and order by and partition by. But we don't never wanted to call it explicit. So, but still it is very good that we are able to change it for category and brand. Whenever the axis is changing, still it is working. So that kind of rank is working for us. Now, next thing which we want to experiment with is the row number. With the row number, I would like to create a table visual, and this time I'm going to bring in something which is having data at much granular level. So I'm going to bring in order number as non-summarized, and I'm going to bring in sum of quantity. I don't have any measure here. I would like to sort it on sum of quantity, and now I would like to build a calculation which is row number. I want to give the unique row number here in this visual. To do that, I will start a new visual calculation and I'll call it row num1, and I'm going to use the function row number, and in this row number function I'm going to use the relation which is rows. Next thing is order by, and in this order by I'm going to use the something which is we have in this visual, sum of quantity. See, I have not created a measure here. I'm going to use sum of quantity in this visual calculation, which is only present as a implicit measure, not an explicit measure defined by me. With the help of that implicit one, I'm using it, and as you can see on the first one, you are able to see the row numbers getting from 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go back to the report, and you can see that we do have the row numbers here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can we create a multiple combination and can it still work out? So let's go ahead and add city ID to the visualization. Yes, it is working, but order number is still giving the uniqueness. And anyway, we will always get a unique combination. So let me add an item ID also here. So item ID and city ID, still we are getting the numbers, and let me change this combination now. Now it is based on the combination of item ID and city ID. No more the combination is based on the unique order number. So based on the unique combinations also it is working, and we have not changed anything in our function, the row number function. Like, we have not done any explicit call here. Without any explicit call of the relation, it is still working. So that is what the advantage of visual calculation. The next visual calculation which I want to try out is on the window function, and it did not work out for me. So let me showcase you what I tried out and what did not work for me. But you can go ahead and try and experiment and let me know in case you are able to make it work. So I went ahead and added brand along with net. Now I will go ahead and add the new visual calculation, and this time I would like to use window function. I've done few experiments. None of them has given me the desired success. So calculate net window. As you know, window require first two argument the windowing position, something which we have experimented with the range. So if the window doesn't work, range is there with us to do all these calculations. We can use that. So from what? From the -1 relative position to 0 relative position, and the next thing which I wanted to use is relation itself, which I was trying to give rows, and I don't want to give any order by right now, and try to experiment with the window function, and it did not work as I was expecting it to work, because it is requiring a unique context which I am not able to provide here. I went ahead and I said, okay, let me edit the calculation. Let me see if order by can help us. So I used order by net DESC, and I again committed this calculation, and it did not work out for me. So seems like for the window function it is not working for me. The other thing which I can do is absolute to absolute. This is something which can work for us. 0 absolute to -1 absolute. So let's try from 1 absolute to -1 absolute, and let's see does it work. No, it didn't. So seems like we will not be able to use window function as of now in the visual level calculation using the rows as axis. I have even tried the experiment by giving here all selected brand and item brand. So that calculation also doesn't work for me, but this is experiment for you. Can you make the window function work in the visual level calculations? Go ahead and try that out. But now we know that we have made quite a few functions working for the visual calculation that include offset, index and rank, row number. So 4 functions out of the 5 functions which are very similar to SQL window function, which provides us order by and partition by, we are able to use in visual level calculations. So why don't you go ahead and continue to experiment with these visual calculations, and do let me know what else you want me to cover in this particular series. Thanks for watching this particular video. Thank you.